Welcome to Fun Facts Daily, your source for just the good stuff. Monday through Friday, we're bringing fun facts and news you can use, all carefully curated to uplift and inform. So give yourself a break, relax, and learn something awesome in just a few minutes every day. Hi everyone, I'm Kyle Wood. Since tomorrow is March 14th, commonly referred to as Pi Day, 314, I thought today's the perfect day for us to learn all about the mathematical constant known as pi. But before we get into the facts, let's warm up our brains with a little challenge to see if you can tell fact from fiction. Consider this. Rumor has it, in the 19th century, a group of politicians actually took a vote trying to change some of the laws of mathematics. The state of Indiana actually attempted to pass a law that would legally redefine the value of pi to a much simpler round number. What do you think? Did politicians really try to make their own math? We'll find out at the end of the episode. Now for your word of the day. Our word for today is transcendental. That's transcendental. In the world of mathematics, a transcendental number is a number that is not algebraic, meaning it cannot be the solution to any simple polynomial equation with whole numbers. While that sounds like a lot of technical jargon, it essentially means that numbers like pi are beyond the reach of standard algebraic operations. It belongs to a special class of numbers that are infinite and never settle into a repeating pattern, making it a bit of a rebel in the world of digits. The word transcendental comes from the Latin transcendere, which means to climb over or to surpass. It's a perfect description for pi because it truly surpasses our ability to fully capture it. When you call pi transcendental, you're acknowledging that it goes beyond the limits of our finite calculation and represents something truly infinite. It wasn't until the 18th century that mathematicians finally proved pi fit this description, changing how we view geometry forever. Time for your daily high five, our top 5 fun facts about pi. Number 1. While pi goes on indefinitely, even NASA has to round it off somewhere. They use about 15 decimal places of pi to navigate the entire solar system and still do it with incredible precision. Many people assume that because pi is infinite, scientists have to use thousands of digits to land rovers on Mars and send probes into deep space. But NASA revealed that for almost all their calculations, they only use about 15 or 16 decimal places. Using pi rounded to 3.141592653589793 is more than enough to handle the vast distances of our neighborhood in space. Their level of accuracy is so high that even if you were calculating a circle with a radius of 7 billion miles, the margin of error would be less than the width of a human finger. The reason they don't use more digits is simply the universe isn't big enough to require that much detail. Even if we wanted to calculate the circumference of the entire observable universe to the precision of a single hydrogen atom, we would only need about 39 or 40 digits of pi. Beyond that, the extra numbers don't really provide any practical benefit because we don't have measuring tools that could even detect such a tiny difference. Number 2, the record for memorizing the digits of pi is so high it took nearly a full day to recite them all. The human memory is really an amazing thing, and pi reciters take this to the absolute limit. As of the time of this recording, the current world record for memorizing digits of pi is held by Rajveer Meena of India, who recited 70,000 decimal places while wearing a blindfold. This incredible feat took about 10 hours just to say all those digits, requiring a level of concentration and mental stamina that's hard for most of us to wrap our brains around. People who memorize so many digits of pi often use a technique called a memory palace or complex visualization techniques to keep the string of numbers straight in their minds. It's part of a subculture known as pi philology, where people create poems or songs that help them remember the sequence. Some world records are officially verified by Guinness, while others are tracked by dedicated math communities around the globe. While computers have now calculated pi to over 100 trillion digits, these records for human recitations not only show us quite a bit about how far pi goes, but really how far we can push the human brain. Number 3. Any number that's special to you, your phone number, birthday, social security number, it's all hidden somewhere inside the digits of pi. Pi is what mathematicians call a normal number, which means it's got a repetition of all the digits 0 through 9, more or less evenly distributed, but also randomly distributed in an infinite, non-repeating decimal. This means that if you look far enough in the sequence, you'll find your birth date, social security number, even your best friend's phone number. And people have created websites with pi searchers where you can type in a string of digits to see exactly where they'll appear in the first few 100 million digits of pi. To test that theory, I put in the digits from the classic 80s song 8675309 and discovered that exact string occurs 15 times in the first 200 million digits of pi. So pi may be the universal constant, but it also has a real connection to everyone's personal lives. Some say if you took this concept even further, converting letters into numbers like A is 1 and B is 2, pi could eventually contain the text of every book ever written. It could contain the script for this podcast, the works of Shakespeare, and even your future grocery lists. While we haven't calculated enough digits to find these long strings of text yet, the mathematical theory suggests that they're all waiting there. Number 4, the Great Pyramid of Giza in Egypt actually contains the proportions of pi in its massive stone structure. Archaeologists and mathematicians have long been fascinated by the fact that the dimensions of the Great Pyramid seem to be based on the value of pi. If you take the perimeter of the pyramid's base and divide it by twice its height, the result is remarkably close to 3.14. This discovery has led to endless debates about whether the ancient Egyptians intentionally built the pyramid to reflect this mathematical constant. Since the pyramid was built thousands of years before pi was formally discovered by modern math, it's a mystery that continues to intrigue historians today. Some experts believe the Egyptians might have used a measuring wheel to determine the base of the pyramid, which would naturally incorporate the properties of a circle. By rolling a drum or wheel a certain number of times, the ratio of the diameter to the circumference, which is pi, would be baked into the construction automatically. And our fifth and final fun fact for today. There's a secret sort of language called Pilish that allows you to write literature based on the digits of pi. For those who love both words and numbers, Pilish is a unique style of writing where the numbers of the letters in each word have to match the corresponding digits of pi. For example, the first 3 digits are 3, 1, and 4. So a Pilish sentence must start with a 3-letter word, then a 1-letter word, and then a 4-letter word. A famous example is, "May I have a large container of coffee?" where the word lengths are 3, 1, 4, 1, 5, 9, 2, and 6. This creates a fun and challenging puzzle for writers who want to honor the number through storytelling. Perhaps the greatest feat of this type of writing is a book called Not Awake by Michael Keith. It's written entirely in Pilish for the first 10,000 digits. It includes poems, short stories, and even a movie script, all adhering strictly to the infinite sequence of numbers. And I love this because it shows that math isn't always so rigid or dry. It can be a creative spark that leads to entirely new forms of art. And writing in this style can also serve as a great mnemonic device for people who are trying to memorize the digits of pi. Now for some news you can use. While our main subject for today is pi, spelled pi, the mathematical constant, I actually have some tips on how pi relates to other sorts of pies. The first is all about pizza pies with a little pizza math hack. Always check the diameter of the pizza before you buy so you can get the most for your money. Most people think an 18-inch pizza is only a little bigger than a 12-inch one because the numbers on the diameter, and usually the numbers on the price, aren't too far apart. But thanks to pi, the 18-inch pie is actually more than double the size of a 12-inch. What a lot of people forget is the area of the circle increases with the square of the radius. When you double the width, you're not doubling the food, you're actually quadrupling the total area. But it's rarely quadruple the price. It's often just a few dollars more, meaning it's usually the best value to get the largest pizza available. And plus, let's face it, you can never have too much pizza. The leftovers are always delicious the next day. And here's a little bonus baking tip. Use the pi ratio to make sure your pie crust is always the perfect size for your tin. If you're rolling out dough for a circular pie, measure the diameter of your pie dish and multiply it by 3.14 to find the circumference. You want to roll your dough until the edge of the outer rim is roughly that length. This ensures you have enough dough to go up the sides and create that beautiful fluted crust without any wasted scraps. It works because pi governs the relationship between the flat bottom of your pie and the walls of the dish. Instead of guessing and re-rolling your dough, which can make it tough and dry, using a quick pi-based calculation helps you get the proportions perfect on the first try. Finally, the moment you've been waiting for. At the beginning of the episode, I asked, could it be true that politicians once tried to legally change the value of pi to a simpler number? Well, that's a fact. Indiana once tried to redefine pi as 3.2. In 1897, a physician and amateur mathematician named Edward J. Goodwin introduced House Bill No. 246 to the Indiana General Assembly. He believed he had discovered a way to square the circle, a mathematical impossibility, and his method resulted in a value of pi that was exactly 3.2. Remarkably, the bill passed the Indiana House of Representatives with a vote of 67-0 because the politicians thought it would bring prestige to the state and allow them to charge royalties for their new math. Thankfully, Clarence Waldo, a professor of mathematics, happened to be at the State House that day for a completely unrelated reason. He was horrified to see what was happening and spent the evening tutoring the state senators in math and explaining to them that they can't just vote to rewrite the laws of nature and mathematics. Because of his intervention, the Senate decided to postpone the bill indefinitely, and it never became law. Now, I hope you enjoyed learning a bit about pi with me today, and be sure to tune in every weekday for even more fun facts. Fun Facts Daily is an Airwave Media podcast. It was written, recorded, mixed, and edited by me, Kyle Wood. Thanks for sharing a part of your day with me. Be sure to follow Fun Facts Daily on your favorite podcast app so you can keep the good stuff coming your way every day. And if you like the show, please do me a favor and leave a kind rating, review, or just tell your friends about it.